Hello, friends. So today I decided that I was going to take a look at Kim Kardashian's chart. I like her chart. It's very compelling. It's very easy to teach with. And I know that I have an accurate birth time for her. So hers is one of my favorites. This is kind of like a Kim Kardashian stan account. So get ready for that. Let me just pull up her chart because I always think I'm ready and I'm actually not. So today we're using Astro. This is one of my favorite websites. It's very accessible. This is not sponsored. If you want to sponsor me, run me my money. Thank you. But this is like a really accessible website. It's really simple to use, especially if you are a beginner or if you're just starting out. So Kim Kardashian, Miss Kimberly Noel Kardashian, was born on October 21st, 1980. At 10:46 in the morning in LA. True California Valley girl. It's giving. She is a Sagittarius rising, okay, with a Libra sun and a Pisces moon. So she has, just to start from the very beginning, Sagittarius risings. Sagittarius is ruled by the centaur, which is half man, half horse. This camera is going to be the death of me, bitch. Okay. Which is half man, half horse, right? So I'm not going to say she looks like a horse because Kim Kardashian does not look like a horse. She's one of the most beautiful women in the world. But it is giving Sagittarius rising, right? The big, beautiful eyes, the elongated face, the thick black slicked back ponytail. I mean, it's giving. So Sagittarius also rules over the part of the body that rules the hips, the butt, and the thighs. So it's very interesting that she is known for that, basically. So also speaking of being known for your body, one of the reasons why I find Kim Kardashian's chart so compelling to teach with is because it's just so literal, right? So she's a Sag rising, which means Jupiter is going to be the planet that rules over her ascendant. This is called a chart ruler. Okay. So depending on what your rising sign is, that planet is going to determine your chart ruler. So I'm a Libra rising. So it would be Venus, my chart ruler. Finding out the house the chart ruler in is going to really tell you a lot about the person's mission in life, where their focus is, right? Because it's the planet that rules over their entire ascendant, their first house, which is honestly, I believe, the most significant point in your chart. It's going to be focusing that energy in a specific house. Okay. So in Kim's chart, hers is in the 10th house of career, public reputation, like public standing, being seen, and legacy. Okay. So her life focus is about all of these things. So her focus in life is really just to, do 10th house things, right? Make a name for herself, be seen, be known, leave a legacy. So all of these things are very important to her. So I use Placidus when I read birth charts because I think it feel like it gives a very nuanced story. So if whole sign resonates more with you, that's awesome. I personally, I like the challenge that Placidus brings. It's more of a headache, but you do get a little bit more juice out of the squeeze, I believe. So talking about being known for her body, okay, because Jupiter is the planet that rules over her ascendant, we're going to look at what Jupiter is doing. So her Jupiter is at the 28th degree of Virgo, which, by the way, also represents the husband in a woman's chart. And Kanye, we did rectify his chart. He's actually a Virgo rising. Okay, so keep that in mind. So her Jupiter right here is at the 28th degree. This big number right here, that's a degree. Okay. This little number right here is called a minute. Okay. So the way we would say this is Kim's Jupiter is at the 28th degree of Virgo in the 10th house. That is the verbiage or the language that you would use when you're describing these planets or describing the chart, right? So we're going to look at her Jupiter, what it's doing. This is why I love Astro because it makes it very easy. This is fun because it gives you kind of a nice idea of what you're looking at, and then you can put it on a chart and get a deeper look once you start learning the circle charts and the glyphs. It helps a lot. So right here, her Jupiter is actually conjunct her midheaven. Now, if you look here, her midheaven starts at the 28th degree and the 26th minute of Virgo, and her Jupiter is at the 28th degree and the 52nd minute. Okay, so they are less than 25 minutes apart. That's a very, very close conjunction. That's less than a degree. So when we break that down even further, this is, like I said, I love teaching with her chart because it is so compelling. So her ascendant is Jupiter. Jupiter is conjunct the midheaven of public standing, public reputation, and what you're known for. She is literally known for her body, literally known for what does Jupiter rule over? Hips, butt, thighs, right? It's crazy. So Saturn is also going to be a part of this conjunction, not necessarily by sign, but by degree. So this is why I also believe that out of sign conjunctions are very important still. An out of sign conjunction is when planets are close together enough to still feel each other's energy, but they're still not in the same sign. So if you look down here, go back to her Jupiter, it's going to be conjunct her Saturn by 4 degrees and 49 minutes. But her Jupiter is in Virgo and her Saturn is in Libra. Saturn really does very well in Libra, so this is good for her as well. So it's still part of the conjunction. So for people who don't say, or for people who say that, you know, we don't like him, when is it going to be over? It's never going to be over. I can tell you that right now. So again, Jupiter blesses whatever it touches. Jupiter conjunct her midheaven is going to be a blessing her public standing, her career. So no, and with Saturn being a part of this conjunction, that's going to give it longevity and the strength to kind of last for a very long time, right? Because Saturn is in Libra, so it likes to be in this sign. And it's also going to, honestly, it's a legacy. We've seen what she's done. This is one of the most powerful women in the world. We can slice it however we want to slice it. We can call them whatever we want to call them. This family is one of the most powerful families in Hollywood. And we could even go ahead and say they're one of the most powerful families as far as like in the media, because they have set beauty trends for, I mean, generations to come. Like we can call it what we want to call it, but calling a spade is what we're going to do in this room, right? She is one of the most powerful women in Hollywood. And the chart, I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. So now we are going to look at, so Kim's chart, she has a lot of planets above the horizon. So what does that mean? The horizon is above the horizon would be planets in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th houses. That's above the horizon, which is the ascendant, descendant. If you have planets below the horizon, you have planets in your 1 to the 6th house. To have a day chart, okay, to have a day chart, the sun needs to be above the horizon. So if your sun is in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th houses, that's a day chart. If your sun is in the 1 to 6 houses, that's a night chart. If you have a day chart, the sun is going to represent your father. If you have a night chart, Saturn is going to represent your father. Okay. I kind of use both because, believe it or not, they both tell a good story, but I have found it very, like compelling that it's actually day and night, like bisect, right? Divided by sect. So, excuse me. Because in her chart, bitches be thirsty out here. So because it's a day chart, the sun is going to be what represents her father, right? So Libra represents justice, represents law. It represents the scales. It represents Camila coming into the video. Hold on. Hi, I'm not going to edit. So hi, that's Camila. She's coming in. It's recording, so it's not like a call or anything. Do you mind if I just finish it? Okay, cool. So if you have a day chart, the sun is going to represent the father, right? Her sun is in Libra. So Libra represents justice, the scales, legality. Kim Kardashian's dad was a lawyer. He was a very famous lawyer who, I mean, he kind of got I'm not going to say too much because I don't know who's watching this video. I don't want to get sued, but let's just say he did a very good job at his lawyering profession. He got OJ off of his murder trial. So he was a very famous, however you want to slice it, he was a very powerful man. Now, some astrologers do say that the sun can also represent your career in your chart, or can be a significator of what that is, because the sun is your identity. So it's something that you do every day. So it just makes sense, right? That if you're a Leo, you might want to be an entertainer, because you want to be seen, you want to shine. That's how you want to show your light. So Kim also wanted to follow in her dad's footsteps, and she also wants to become a lawyer. So that makes sense too, that she also has a Libra sun. She's all about partnerships. One thing I will say about Kim, because we have a lot to cover, like her chart is really crazy. Okay, so this is why I like Placidus, because it tells a different story. So in Placidus, her moon is conjunct her IC, but her moon is in the 3rd house, right? So her moon is at the 28th degree of Pisces, and her IC is at the 28th degree and 26th minute. The moon rules over her 8th house, okay? Because her 8th house is ruled by Cancer. It's very interesting that her mom is her manager. Isn't that crazy? Her mom is her manager, and her 8th house is ruled by the moon. Her mom handles her business partnerships and her money from her business partnerships. Very, very karmic chart. This is how I know her birth time is right. So whatever. So she has her, I mean, I think it's cool. Camila's like vibing. She's looking out the window. So, okay. So we all know that Kris Kardashian is her mom, right? The moon is managing her money from her business partnership. So it's really cool. That actually is a nice connection I just made. So her moon's in the 3rd. The 3rd house represents sales and marketing. Okay. Now the moon in the 3rd house is still conjunct the IC. So the IC represents the family, represents your mother. So the fact that she is in business with women in her family, right? They share resources, 8th house. That connection of the 8th house, 3rd house, 4th house conjunction, IC conjunction, that makes a lot of sense, that she literally does 3rd house work, social media, communications, marketing, sales, with her family, with the women in her family, because it's primarily the women in her family that she works with, right? The moon conjunct the IC, which rules the 8th house of other people's money. So that's a really cool distinction as well. Saturn is going to be in her 10th house. So the 2nd house ruler in the 10th house is a very good sign for finances, especially when it's Saturn, especially her Saturn in Libra, because it's doing very well in this sign. It's actually protecting her finances. So we can say that Saturn is restricting, right? It can restrict, but it can also give, bless you, thank you. But it can also give structure. It can also give longevity. It can also make sure that something lasts the test of time, right? Because father, I think Kronos is the father of time. So it's really beautiful that she has I think it's exalted, right? What? Saturn in Libra.
It's exalted
yeah.
in Libra. Yeah.
So Saturn, so it's beautiful that she has the 2nd house ruler exalted in the 10th, because it's going to connect her 2nd house of earned income, her own money, her own personal private money, with the 10th house of her career. So that connection right there is really good. Real quick to break down the financial houses in a birth chart, because she has a really nice birth chart for money as well. The 2nd house is the money that you make on your own, that you can save in your own birth chart, because it's the result of yourself, right? Your 1st house. The 5th house is the house of speculative gains. So gambling, right? Blackjack, the slots, and going to the casino. That's 5th house. The 8th house is shared resources, money from business partnerships in your marriage, because it's the results from the 7th, okay? And the 11th house is the house of incoming liquid gains. So this is the house you want to look at. If somebody's going to tell you how much money am I going to make, you're going to look at the 11th, okay? Because if someone is like, how much money am I going to make? And you're looking at their 2nd house, you're looking at how much money they can actually hold on to. There's a difference between how much money somebody can make and how much money somebody can hold on to. If somebody has a really beautiful 11th house, right? Nice Venus, nice Jupiter, right? But they have a kind of a messed up 2nd house. Yeah, you make tons of money. You're pulling in 6 figures a month, but you're in debt. So that's the difference between the 11th and 2nd houses. And that's why we have to look at the entire chart, especially when we talk about money. Her 5th house ruler is in the 12th. Her 5th house is ruled by Mars. She did have a sex tape come out. Mars also rules over your romantic partners in your birth chart, and her Mars is in Sagittarius. We're going to dive into her like Virgo Sag stuff in a second. She has a lot of mutable squares, like her moon, her Venus, and her Mars and her Jupiter all square each other. That's crazy. And her Neptune. She is very like go with the flow. I'll tell you that. There's one thing about Kim is she takes it as she rolls with the punches for real. So the fifth house rules over, like I said, speculative gains and money that you make from taking risks. Okay. Now the connection between her fifth house and 12th house is very interesting because the fifth house being speculative gains, the ruler of that being Mars, romantic partners in the 12th house of bed pleasures. She took a huge risk. Now, I don't know still if like they released the tape on their own or if it was released. But if they released it on their own, I can see it in the chart because that was a huge risk that she took with her sexuality and her bed pleasures, right? Their 12th house, the secrets. That was a huge financial risk that she took. And it did pay off very well. Because her Sagittarius Mars also makes, her Sag Mars is actually making a sextile to that Saturn in the 10th house. Wow. So it actually does make a lot of sense that she took like kind of that risk with her, with her sex tape and her sexuality and everything. So one thing I will say, the 9th house Venus does make sense. I'm not surprised that she wanted to go into law, especially fighting for women, because I can see that. So Venus in the 9th house can also give somebody a passion for philosophy. But I've seen her, I think she's trying to free this woman. She works primarily with women who have been jailed or put away unfairly. So I definitely love that. Oh my God. Yeah. She's a service. Because remember, Virgo is a sign of service. So she's being of service to these women. And Virgo also rules, I believe it rules over women too. I'm not mistaken. I don't know. Don't quote me. The maiden. Yeah. So it makes sense that she's working with women in like 9th house things like legality and law. And again, the 2nd house ruler, something else that's very interesting. The 2nd house ruler, the 2nd house also rules over your family values and your morals. It's very different from the 4th house. It's kind of like the systems that your family has built. It's not the home. It's like the system of values and morals and the legacy kind of that your family has built before you. The 4th house is more of like the home itself. So the 2nd house ruler being in the 10th, being Saturn, conjunct all of this planets, the midheaven, because the midheaven also represents the father. So she's following in her father's footsteps to try and cement this legacy. So I really feel like she with her father's passing, she became a lot more like one of us has to cement the family name, and it's gonna probably have to be me. Let's see. So Virgo Venus, real quick. Virgo also rules over textiles. So it does also make sense that she makes a lot of money from her. Yep. She makes a lot of money from her fashion line. Also, real quick, Virgo Venus. So your Virgo Venus sign. Hold on, let's speak English. Your Venus sign can show you kind of like what kind of clothes you like to wear, how you like to dress, right? So her Venus is in Virgo. Virgo is obviously an earth sign. So what are earth tones? You don't really see Kim in anything that is like, she likes her earth tones. She likes the khakis, the browns. I mean, look at her skims. It's all like lights and nudes and grays and like blues, which is really cute. And then if you look here, even when she does go crazy, Virgo likes to, so you look at Libra.
Yeah, like within home dress.
Yeah, well, I can't turn my camera around, but she's dressed very demure. But if you look at like Beyonce's a Libra Venus. Beyonce's outfits have diamonds and feathers and crowns. You've seen her performances, like she goes all out. Kim, even when she is going all out, she's not like, look at this outfit right here, right? She still keeps it very simple. So Virgo likes to keep it very clean, very simple, very nice, very cute. Even there's not a lot going on, not a lot of jewelry. If you put jewelry up here, it's bare down here. If you put a lot of makeup up here, it's, she's very clean and cut and concise and very methodical with the way that she dresses. That's a Virgo Venus thing. So the Sagittarius Mars, I can understand why she likes the bad boy energy. Now, the issue is with this Virgo Venus and Mars is that they square each other. So her signs don't necessarily square each other by degree because they're kind of far apart. Venus is at 19 degrees and Mars is at 6. They're 13 degrees. It's not a square at all. But by sign, you can still understand where kind of the frustration comes in with her romantic partners, because her Venus and Jupiter are actually conjunct. Well, and some astrologers will call it conjunction either way, if they're just in the same sign. Her Venus and Jupiter are actually, they're both in Virgo, and they're both squaring that Sagittarius Mars. That's crazy. I have the exact same thing, but I have it squaring my Gemini Mars.
Yeah.
That's so funny. Okay.
I have it squaring my rising, my Venus.
Oh. We'll do a deep dive
And
into
Jupiter.
Camila's chart. We'll do a deep dive into Camila's chart one day. Also, what was I saying? Jupiter also does represent the husband. I said that, right? Yeah. So Jupiter, wherever, I forgot what I was saying, but we'll figure it out. Jupiter, the house it's in, will also tell you, yeah, we'll figure it out. Jupiter will also tell you where you'll meet your husband, right? Or what kind of aura this person will bring to you. For Jupiter in the 10th house, of course, Kanye is like the, like he's the like most famous rapper. So it makes sense that she also, I honestly think the way that her chart is set up, I don't think she was, like you said, me and Camila were talking about it yesterday. She said that there was no way that she was destined. She cannot date somebody who is not in the public eye. And I think that sorry, I'm thinking in my brain. I'm thinking that her marriage with Chris Humphries was so short because of that. She really wanted to be seen and be famous and be in the public eye, and he was very much a homebody, worried about his family and stuff like that. So yeah, I can see that. Let's see what we're doing here. One more thing that I want to take a look at before we dive in. Okay, so this is actually great. So how I know, Camila actually rectified Kanye's chart and we found out that he's a Virgo rising. One of the ways that you can find out about like somebody else's birth time about rectification is by using their partner's chart, okay? Because it just makes sense. If there's no 7th house stuff and they're married and they've been together, then something maybe isn't all the way right? So as it turns out, because he is a Virgo rising and Kim has a Pisces moon, her moon would fall in his 7th house. And they have really beautiful compatibility in that way because his sun and Jupiter fall in her 7th house. So they have that mutual 7th house stuff going on, which is really cute. ¿Qué más iba a decir? Let me see. Oh, okay. So let's look at something really cute. So Mercury rules over her 7th house, right? Because she is a Sagittarius rising. I had way too much coffee. I had like coffee and a chai tea and like I'm like wired. So she has Mercury in the 11th. Okay, cute. So this is a placement when you have the ruling planet of your 7th house in your 11th, you want your long-term partner to fulfill your goals and dreams with you. Like you almost look to them to like help you fulfill these things together. So you want them to expand you. You want to make money together, honestly, because the 11th house is a money house. Also, the 11th house being a money house and her having Mercury in there, Mercury is a duplicitous sign. So this can mean that she has more than one income, which she obviously does. But this can also mean more than one marriage, right? Because Mercury, again, is a sign that's duplicitous. It's not always that, okay? But we have to look at what her Mercury is doing. Her Mercury is in the 11th. So her Mercury is at 19 degrees of Scorpio, but her Uranus is at 5 degrees. At 24 degrees of Scorpio, 5 degrees away. So they're kind of conjunct. So what happens when the ruling planet, because her ruling planet of the 7th house and the 10th house are making an aspect to Uranus. Uranus is a very unpredictable planet. So this is why you'll see that her romantic relationships start and end very quickly, right? She got married, 72 days, it was over. Even doesn't always have to represent the marriage itself, but also the partner, right? So if Mercury represents her romantic partner and it's conjunct, and it's making a conjunction to Scorpio, right? To Uranus and Scorpio, these are very possessive partners, very controlling partners who honestly might be a little bit crazy, he's a little off the wall. So this also is the same thing with her public image. It's really weird. I think Kim has a weird way of being very private, but also very public at the same time. That's something we all wish to master. So yeah, her chart is pretty cool. But that's why you'll see We have sound effects in the back. That's why you'll see that. That's why you'll see that her relationships kind of have this really like Uranian nature to them, where they start very quickly, end very quickly, are very unstable, very up and down. And also kind of the same thing with her public persona as well. She's very hated one day, very loved the next. Now that she's going through all this with Kanye, it's almost like everyone loves her again because they're seeing her in a different perspective. They're seeing her as like, you know, a woman who's really going through something as opposed to just be Kim Kardashian, right? She also does require a little bit of freedom too. I can understand. So when the ruler of your seventh house is conjunct Uranus, not only do you pick partners who are maybe not like you all the way, but partners who are very different from you. Maybe you need a little bit more freedom in your relationship. Gemini descendants already need a little bit of freedom. So I can see why she was okay with the long distance or with the moving far apart or having their own lives. Like it was very important for her that her and her partner have a more unconventional setup as well. So I wanted to look at the transits of the day her sex tape came out because they were pretty shitty. She's stronger than me. What did Nufaka do? Let me see. So this was February 2007. I think it was February 21st. Okay. So on the day that Kim K Superstar came out, she had, hold on, she had Pluto squaring her 10th house Jupiter, Pluto squaring her, remember that her fourth house, her third house moon is conjunct her IC, and so it's basically Pluto was squaring, Pluto was squaring her Jupiter in her midheaven. Her moon in the fourth house, well, her moon in the third house conjunct the IC. She had Neptune squaring her Mercury. Remember that Mercury Mercury's in her 11th house, and it rules over her 7th and her 10th. Neptune squares can be deception, can be lies, can be confusion, can be disillusionment, can be just like being in a fog about what? Right? About her mercurial things. What does Mercury rule in her chart? Her love life and her public standing. So this is very interesting because this is around a time where lots of people were speculating and making up lies and making up stories about her reputation, about her relationships. Now the squares, Pluto squaring her Jupiter in the 10th was a test of her faith. So this is a time, because Jupiter represents your faith and your connection to your higher power. This is a time where she probably felt like this was very tested for her. So either she leaned into it very, very heavily, or she felt like she was being kind of put to the side. So this was a time where it was very hard on her. Pluto squaring her moon in the third house can show that, and conjunct the IC, this was not only hurting her, but it was also hurting her family. Remember, this is like a familial thing. Like this was transformative for the entire family. So it makes total sense. These transits make complete sense because Pluto squares are transformational, whether you like them or not. Any Pluto is going to be transformational. The harder aspects, though, are going to be a little bit more painful. So it does make a lot of sense that Pluto was squaring her moon, which was conjunct her IC, because it completely rebuilt, like it tore down and rebuilt that family structure. And they became the most powerful family in the world after they went through this Plutonian transit of like basically, having to deal with all this stuff. Yeah, her chart was crazy. Her chart's very, very cool. And her South node was making a trine to Chiron in her 5th. That's a sex house too. Yeah, there was a lot. Her chart's really, really cool. Maybe one day we'll do Kim and Kanye together. But yeah, this was a really cool time. I wish I could have hugged her, to be honest, when this all was going on, because it just seems like it was obviously a very hard time just being seen so publicly in that light. But she handled it very well. She's a true Pisces moon, very intuitive. One thing I will say about her is that she got her mother's negotiation skills for sure. So Mercury and Scorpio in the 11th house. So Mercury, she's a very powerful negotiator. Mercury and Scorpio in the 11th house, especially when it comes to finances, Kim does not fuck around. So Kim is the ultimate businesswoman, especially when it comes to her money. I do think that she does a lot of her most intimate things in private, like she gets her best money making ideas in private, like the guesses, like I should take a risk on this financially. Those ideas come to her in private. I also have a feeling she dances all herself by herself in her room, but don't tell anyone I said that. Okay, I had a good time. That was fun. Me and Camila are gonna hang out now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. You know, do the thing, like subscribe, and let me know what celebrity you want to see next. And yeah, we'll do that. Okay, bye.